Alright, and welcome to AZW Action, and we kicked this off with a collar and elbow tie-up. Looked like Roughhouse Jolly was going for a pile driver or something, and got bankrupt for his trouble. And we have, of course, Roughhouse Jolly taking on Pal Peenes. Pal. Scottish pocket pal. Mr. Peenes. And his flamboyant hot pink outfit and highly homoerotic taunting, of course geared towards irritating, pissing off, and simply freaking out his opponents. And Roughhouse Jolly, who spends time generally between the Stalwart, the newly renamed Stalwart division, formerly Euro, if you missed out on that particular announcement. The Stalwart division in the hardcore, now renamed the Savage Heart open weight division. This is Stalwart open weight division. There is already going for his secondary finisher there. His big finisher really is that big body splash he does, which is I almost shudder to utter the name that he calls it, but it's actually called the Rock Hard Splash. And he uses that fisherman suplex as a backup finisher, and then he also has the kind of a, I'm not sure how you would describe it. He grabs him from behind and does a kind of a power bomb move. Ooh, missed the big elbow. Roughhouse got out of the way. He wasn't really in good position to begin with. And yeah, that reverse. There he goes with the taunting and the pretending to wave his arm, his huge penis in the guy's face. But that kind of power bomb. Oh, here he goes again. This stiffy slam is that kind of reverse power bomb almost. It's not really a reverse power bomb. It's just kind of a power bomb maneuver from a rear grapple. And of course, Roughhouse, he uses kind of it's a Falcon Arrow. He calls it the Roughhouse Jam. A good old school, well, kind of old school finisher these days. Just a modified suplex into a front slam, basically. Good impact on it, though. But anyway, yeah, Powell hitting that fisherman suplex kind of early, but of course didn't get a 3 count. Way too early to get a 3 count on something as basic as a fisherman suplex. Not a bad move, just wrestlers these days way too used to much higher impact moves to get kept down with a fisherman suplex this early in a match. So of course, big story of this match, the real, oh, there goes Pal again, and of course we're going to get the full shot of it this time. Yay, us. All the ladies in the audience in the gay men swoon. But no, the big story here for this match, of course, is I wasted a bunch of time talking about their finishers, but oh well, is that both of these guys in the tournament, because of course this is a tournament match, are 0-2. Neither one of them has had a win so far. Of course, we're only in the third phase of matches, or third round of matches. But at this point, you know, going 0-2, 2 losses in a row, that's not very good, you know. Basically, zero momentum at this point in the tournament, and that's the position both of these guys are in. And if you're wondering, yes, we set this match up and the next one for the third phase just because of the situation the competitors find themselves in, which is in this match, as I said, both are 0-2. The next match, of course, it'll be Wiz and Wraith, who are both 2-0. But I'll talk about that when we get to that match. The implication here, of course, is that one of these guys is going to go 1-2. He's going to get a win under his belt finally, and some more questionable taunting there from Powell. So one's going to go 1-2. Not a great record, but again, it's still fairly early in the tournament. There's 4 more rounds of matches or phases of matches before we get to the end of this thing, after this one and then the last one of this phase. So there's still time to recover their points, and it just depends on who wins what matches at this point. It's nothing's over for anybody yet. But the big deal here is, of course, only 2 count there. That was his rock hard splash that he managed to hit there. Did not get the 3 count. Slightly out of position on it. Hard hit. Nasty looking hit, but slightly out of position, I feel. I think if he would have had him in a proper setup for that and managed to get the immediate pin instead of having to, you know, waste a bit of time getting into the pin position, he might have had him there. Possible. But keep getting sidetracked by what's going on in the match. What kind of commentator am I? One trying to do color and play-by-play at the same time. Joey Styles managed it. I'll get better. Sidetracked again. Okay, so again, big story for this match is somebody's going 1-2, getting their first win. 1-2, only a 1 count there. While the other is going to go 0-3. That is actually the big deal, because at 0-3, that means that they would have to win every single one of their matches after that to really have a shot at winning this tournament. Because with 8 men in the round-robin tournament, that means 7 rounds of matches, 14 possible points. Now, somebody in the next match is going to go 3-0. That means that they will only have to win 1 other match to officially eliminate whoever loses this match. So someone in this match, it will be almost certainly out of the tournament. They won't, if they lose one more match, you know, the situation there would be that, let's say, purely hypothetically, that Wiz wins the next match. That means that he's got 3 wins in a row, 6 points to his name for the tournament, and we'll say that Roughhouse loses this match. He's kind of been on the receiving end of a lot of the offense here. He loses this match. That means that Wiz would have to lose at least 2 matches. No, he would have to lose, I think, 3. He would have to lose all, or at least 3 of his matches, including... Okay, I would have to look at... you know, I'm getting a little mixed up here. Purely on points, actually. Purely on points. As I was saying, if Powell won this match, he would have to win all 4 of the other rounds matches too. And Wiz would have to lose all of his for Powell to win purely on points. Now, in the standings, as it is, because Wiz has already taken on Paul and beat him, the way it works in a round robin tournament, for at least here in pro wrestling, is that if there's a tie, let's say again, if it was Paul and Wiz managed to be tied at the end of this, because Wiz beat Paul in their match, Wiz wins. You know, or any other, you know, ooh, nasty low blow there. Roughhouse getting a bit rough. Oh, that's a Roughhouse jam there. It's not the first time he's hit it either. And he's got the win, so my hypothetical is busted there. Roughhouse is your winner of this match. That means he goes 1-2, and Paul is sitting at 0-3. So he's almost certainly at this point eliminated. Not necessarily, but if Wiz wins the next match, Paul's done. Of course, he'll still have to finish out the tournament. He's contractually obliged to do so, because everybody else will need to be picking up those points for themselves. But if Wiz wins the next match, Paul is finished in this tournament, because at that point, even if he managed to win all 4 of his next matches to get 8 points, and Wiz managed to tie with him, Wiz would still be the one to come out as the winner. In fact, at this point, either Bootsy, Wiz, or Roughhouse Jolly, if Paul somehow managed to tie with them at the end, all 3 of those guys would be able, would have the win over him, so they would win the tournament instead of him. So, at this point, yeah, it's almost certain that Roughhouse is done. Not necessarily. I mean, it's always possible that he could win all 4 of his next matches, and everybody else could go 3-4 or something like that in the end, and he be the only one with 4 wins under his belt and get it on points. But that's unlikely. Possible, but we'll have to see. But it really depends on that next match. If Paul can pull it out, I wish I hadn't have said that. If Paul can get the victory on his next match, he might still be in the running if he can get 4 in a row. But again, if Wiz manages to go 4-0, then Paul is out, certainly. And if Paul loses his next match, then he's, again, certainly done for the tournament. So, kind of a big story there. And we'll have to see how the next match plays out. If Wiz loses, that means definitely means Paul is in a much better position to continue on in this tournament, because then he hasn't faced Wraith yet. That'd be Wraith going 3-0. and they won't face each other until, let's see, interestingly enough, Paul and Wraith will not face each other until the final round of the tournament. So it would be rather weird and interesting if it somehow came down to just those two, but we'll have to see what happens. So keep tuned, stay tuned, folks. Things getting interesting here in this tournament. It's starting to heat up.